Extinction. The total eradication of an entire species. Completely forgotten and left in the pages of history.
All species of mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, arthropods, fish, crustaceans, corals, and other cnidarians have recently declined in population severely. Human civilization has had a negative impact on most living things. We are amidst the largest period of species extinction in the last 60 million years.
In the Philippines, the encroachment of human populations on several plant and animal species' natural habitats has been a primary agent for the loss of biodiversity. Displacement from one's habitat leaves species vulnerable to harsher new living conditions, predation from other species, and scarcity or inaccessibility of resources required for survival.
Species such as the Philippine eagle, Philippine tarsier, and tamarau are some of the most known endangered species here in the Philippines. Fortunately, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources has been making efforts into making sure that these animals slowly make it past their endangered status.
The Ninoy Aquino Parks and Wildlife Center is a 23.8-hectare protected area under the management of DENR. This is not only a recreational space but also a safe haven for several species of animals. The star of the entire park is a Philippine eagle being taken care of that was handed by the DENR to the park itself.
The Philippine eagle, or also known as the monkey-eating eagle, is considered as the Philippines' national bird. It is one of the largest extant eagles in the world, measuring 2.82 feet to 3.35 feet and weighing 4 kilograms to 8 kilograms. It is considered among the rarest and most powerful birds in the world. Unfortunately, it has been declared that the Philippine eagle has been critically endangered, mainly due to the massive loss of habitat resulting from deforestation in most of its range. The population has been decreased to an extent that killing a Philippine eagle is punishable under the Philippine law up to 12 years in prison and heavy fees.
However, there are other reasons other than deforestation that contributes to the extinction of our endangered species. The question is, how much more causes are there that can be prevented by us? Can these causes be avoided or solved? How does the extinction of these animals affect our society?
To answer these questions, we have invited Mrs. Shirley Rodolfo, the head of the Science Department of the Samporna Academy from Indonesia, in order to get her insights about this topic.
I think nowadays we see a massive change in the environment, and it has been causing a lot of pressure on the biodiversity of the animals around us. And so if you ask me about major causes of extinction of major forms of animals, I think I will consider number one, the loss of habitat as a major cause due to human activities, due to human intentions and purposes, and like call for development, quote unquote. We have been changing, converting our land use from forest, agricultural into something like for housing purposes, for industrial purposes. And so what happens is the natural habitat for animals are lost. And because of this, the animals themselves, a lot of species have started to disappear. And it's a major thing, it's happening so fast. So a lot of prime original forest lands have been converted for other purposes. So it's alarming. Second major cause of animal extinction, I think, is this climate change that we are experiencing. Although we look at it as happening through the years and it's a slow process, but we can already feel its effects. A lot of flash flooding, a lot of changes in temperatures, rise in the temperature, some glaciers, deposits of snow, thick layers of snow melting, and this has great effects on the natural species living in such kinds of environment. And so I think even if it's a slow process, we are starting, the animal species are starting to feel it, and it's really affecting them a lot. And one more cause, which is actually very unfortunate, is by the humans themselves, those who are into hunting, poaching, and like natural just interest in killing or in selling animals, endemic ones, like very interesting kind of species. And it's sad because we try to trade parts of their bodies, we try to trade the whole animal, and we lose those original good species of animals around us. We might not directly see the effect of the loss of some animal species into the society, but I think indirectly we can feel it. If you look at the biological aspect of it, every species, every animal is part of a big web, of a big ecological web, of a big chain. And so, when part of that web or part of that chain, food chain, is lost, or one member of that web disappears, then there will always be an effect on the other parts of the web or of the chain. So, animals, when we look at them, we consider them as the predators in the food web or in the food chain. And so if one among those predators disappear, then that will directly have an effect in the other links. And so if this happens, there will be an ecological imbalance in our environment, and it could affect our agriculture, it could affect the prey-predator kind of relationship. So we just one day might just realize, why is this happening? Why is this animal behaving this way? Why is this group of animal increasing in number? Why is this animal decreasing in number? Or why is this plant group disappearing? Well, it is because of the effect of disappearance of some groups of animals. We have disturbed the ecological balance, and so the effect of it will slowly creep into us. But it's not a hopeless case. We can always try to look back and see and examine at which point the ecological balance was lost. Maybe reforestation is an answer, maybe making sure that we plant new trees before we cut on the other side could be an answer. But definitely when one part of the food chain or the food web disappears, then there will be an immediate effect on us. Well, actually, it is not a hopeless case. There are things that we can do to avoid this massive extinction of animal species, but it should require a lot of information campaign, a lot of involvement from all sectors of society, a lot of education process, and a lot of commitment. Now, if we don't have this, I don't think we can succeed in saving the many more species existing around us. One is we should consider development. We should develop as a human species, and we should make use of the earth, of the areas, but we should try to consider also the nature side of it. So there is such thing as sustainable development, wherein we can consider developing new things, new areas, but at the same time we should be more conscious of how we do it. We should be considering processes, structures, buildings of things that can avoid the destruction of our environment, of our natural environment. So it could also help if government can really put down their feet and say that these areas could be identified as like natural parks. They cannot be touched, like it's a conserved area, it's a conservation area. So, but that there should be set rules. I think most countries have rules, They have put up the regulations. It's just that it's the execution of the law, execution of the rules, and really like punishing those who disobey the rules. That's where the problem lies. There are certain agencies or parts of governments like the department or ministry of natural resources or ministry of this and that determines which areas of a particular country can be used for what purposes. So if we follow those rules, then I think we can still save what we can save among the species still existing. So follow the rules, conservation, be more aware of sustainable development, and yeah, awareness and inclusion of this in the curriculum or syllabus that students are learning in school so that they will have more commitment towards this cause of saving our natural environment and the animals around us.
To further focus on the topic of preservation of these so-called endangered animals, we have approached Mrs. Christine Mary Apt, an animal caretaker from the USA, now based in Indonesia to support the preservation of the local orangutan population, which is an endangered species of ape in Indonesia.
So the main causes that are contributing to extinction of animal species across the world are habitat loss from deforestation and destruction of their different ecosystems, and also through climate change with the rising carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. Different species are having their ranges restricted, and also they are losing habitat, especially in places like coral reefs. So with the changing climate, more animal species will be facing extinction. If we think about the places where animals live, the different ecosystems, such as coral reefs or forests or savanna, these are places that should be protected for not only the animals and other species that live there, but also for the ecosystem services that those areas provide. Things like storing carbon instead of releasing CO2 into the atmosphere, giving us a source of oxygen, providing flood control and erosion mitigation. So all of the ecosystem services that make our world a pleasant and possible place for humans to survive, animals also need those conditions too. So if we destroy the habitats for animals, we also are harming our own species. So we need these places for the animals themselves, for our own health, and for the benefit of future generations. Some of the places where animals live have plant species that can cure disease and be used to create medicine, and also they provide a lot of services for people living around those habitats. So if we destroy them, we not only lose the animal species, but we also lose the services that their habitats provide for us. There is a lot of hope around the world that the causes of extinction can be solved by human activities, because it is our own human activities that are creating the problems. We have the power to change what is driving the loss of the species around the world. So, for example, habitats that are being destroyed because of deforestation, we can have governments control how much forest loss is allowed and to maintain the forests that we have, and that will also help with the carbon dioxide levels. So our direct actions to the environment are what will determine if we are going to have these animal species for future generations. We can also contribute through consumer action based on what products we buy, what companies we support. Palm oil is one really large reason for forest loss and habitat destruction, especially in rainforested areas. So choosing not to use palm oil and also supporting companies that have sustainable palm oil will be a way that we can limit the loss of habitat for animal species.
It's always better if humans are aware of the population of certain species of wildlife, for it also benefits them. Once a species becomes extinct, the whole ecosystem gets affected, similar to a domino effect.
With this, we asked several students about their perspective about the issue of animal extinction and how it can be solved.
I think animal extinction is caused by both natural events and destructive human activities. Some of these causes can be avoided, especially the destructive human activities, such as the degradation of natural habitat and the overhunting, but not all causes can be avoided, especially the natural events that cause extinction. We need to bear in mind that animal extinction is a normal part of life, that animals that existed thousands of years ago do not exist anymore, and the animals that exist now won't exist in 1,000 years or so. But I do believe that there are measures that we could take to avoid worsening the case for animal extinction.
Till this day, extinction still proves to be a difficult problem to overcome. Despite this, people strive to serve as saviors for our neighbors in this planet, because in order for us to prosper, we must help each other.